The Monkees, 1966 to 1968, was more than just a TV show. It became a pop culture phenomenon that launched one of the most beloved bands of the era. With Davy Jones, Mickey Dolenz, Michael Nesmith, and Peter Tork, the series mixed comedy, music, and youthful charm, creating hit songs and unforgettable moments that still resonate with fans today. Though the show lasted only 2 seasons, its legacy has endured for decades through reruns, reunion tours, and a loyal fan base around the world. But what happened to the cast after the cameras stopped rolling? In 2025, we look back at the members of the Monkees, their music, careers, and lives, and discover where they are now. Davy Jones was born on December 30, 1945, in Manchester, England, and was only 20 when he became the boyish heartthrob Davy in the Monkees television series in 1966. His on-screen persona, a sweet, slightly vain, and endlessly romantic teen idol, captivated audiences, creating a cult following that adored his charm, humor, and impish smile. Yet behind the curtain of fame, Jones's life was layered with tension and secrets. Raised in a working-class family with limited financial resources, he endured teasing from peers about his thin frame and accent, internalizing a perfectionist streak that fueled both his ambition and private anxieties. Career-wise, Jones struggled with the constraints of manufactured fame. The Monkees were initially a television creation, and the band often faced criticism for using studio musicians rather than playing all their instruments, a point of personal frustration for him. His personal life, while mostly stable, was punctuated by multiple marriages, fleeting affairs, and the occasional tabloid rumor, particularly in the late 1970s when he tried to re-establish a solo career with mixed success. One of the more severe setbacks was the mid-1980s decline in his popularity, during which he faced financial stress and a sense of professional invisibility, a crushing blow for a man whose identity was entwined with performance. Jones also had health issues in later years, including minor strokes and diabetes-related complications that foreshadowed his sudden death. He passed away of a heart attack on February 29, 2012, in Florida at age 66. At the time, his estate was valued at around $5 million, drawn from residuals, touring, and shrewd investments in real estate and memorabilia, cementing his status as a cultural icon, while leaving fans with the bittersweet memory of his unfulfilled potential and enduring charisma. Michael Nesmith, born December 30, 1942 in Houston, Texas, became Mike in the Monkees in 1966 at age 23, bringing a cerebral, understated wit to the otherwise chaotic ensemble. Mike's character was the quiet, thoughtful Texan who often served as the group's grounding force, his signature wool hat becoming an emblem of both individuality and sardonic detachment. Nesmith's early life was paradoxical. Born into a family with wealth thanks to his mother, Betty Nesmith Graham's invention of liquid paper, yet emotionally constrained, with parental expectations that demanded achievement over affection, fostering a resilient, self-reliant, and occasionally withdrawn personality. He battled the pressures of being a manufactured monkey, publicly insisting the band play their own instruments, a confrontation that sparked legendary conflicts with producers and created industry resentment that dogged him for years. His career beyond the Monkees was a series of peaks and valleys. He pioneered country rock with the first national band, experimented with early video innovations that presaged MTV, yet often faced indifference or pushback from record labels, resulting in significant financial and creative setbacks. Off-screen, Nesmith's personal life was marked by turbulence, including multiple marriages and high-profile divorces, strained relationships with children, and occasional publicized disagreements with former Monkees members, all while maintaining an enigmatic public persona. Despite avoiding personal scandal, he navigated the challenges of fame, wealth, and creative autonomy with a persistent insistence on artistic integrity. Nesmith passed away of natural causes on December 10, 2021, at age 78, leaving a meticulously managed estate valued at around $50 million, reflecting a combination of music royalties, inheritance, shrewd investments, and his mother's legacy, cementing his place not only as a Monkee, but as an influential figure in the evolution of music and media innovation. Peter Tork was born Peter Halston Thorkelson on February 13, 1942, in Washington, D.C., and was 24 when he stepped into the role of the endearing, naive, and musically gifted Peter in The Monkees in 1966. On screen, his character's gentle goofball persona endeared him to audiences as the lovable oddball, often overlooked, yet providing subtle comic relief and unexpected insight. His real-life story contrasted sharply with his television image. Tork was a classically trained musician and multi-instrumentalist who tirelessly fought for artistic credibility, resisting studio-imposed shortcuts like ghost musicianship, which led to frequent behind-the-scenes conflicts and a reputation as both difficult and principled. Childhood for Tork was turbulent. He grew up in a strict, middle-class household with high expectations and experienced early teasing for his eccentric interests, instilling a sense of introspective sensitivity and a protective shell. Personal life was similarly complex, marked by brushes with the law for hashish possession in the early 1970s and ongoing battles with substance abuse, which he eventually overcame to advocate for music education and cancer awareness. Professionally, his most severe setback came with the Monkees' mid-1968 dissolution, when he faced both financial strain and the challenge of redefining his career outside the manufactured pop machine that had made him famous. Tork endured significant health struggles later in life, ultimately succumbing to adenoid cystic carcinoma on February 21, 2019, at age 77. His net worth at death was estimated at $2 million, accumulated through decades of touring, solo projects, and teaching, leaving a legacy as the Monkee who relentlessly championed musical authenticity while navigating fame, addiction, and the pressures of a youth culture phenomenon that both defined and constrained his identity. Vincent Beck, born on August 15, 1924 in New York City, stepped into the role of Ivan in The Monkees in 1966 at the age of 42, immediately establishing himself as the show's ominous yet magnetic antagonist. Ivan's presence on screen was chilling and methodical, often creating tension in the Monkees' otherwise chaotic antics. And Beck's performance lent a rare gravitas to a sitcom that otherwise leaned heavily on zany humor. His childhood was defined by hardship during the Depression. His family struggled financially, and young Vincent frequently endured teasing from peers for his quiet, brooding nature, developing an early understanding of how to manipulate presence and perception, skills he later applied to his villainous roles. Professionally, Beck was tireless and disciplined, but confronted the frustrations of typecasting, often relegated to the role of the heavy in both stage and screen productions. Despite his dedication, he occasionally clashed with directors who found his intensity overbearing, and whispers among colleagues hinted at a meticulous, sometimes domineering approach to rehearsals that could strain relationships on set. Off-screen, Beck remained deeply committed to actors' unions and advocacy, a quietly noble but largely unpublicized aspect of his life. His personal relationships were marked by focus on career over romance, and he remained unmarried, often described by friends as enigmatic and intensely private. Beck passed away on July 24, 1984, at the age of 59 from cancer, leaving a net worth estimated around $500,000, a testament to a steady career in film and television. Though his name never reached marquee superstardom, his legacy as a consummate professional who brought depth, menace, and sophistication to otherwise secondary roles persists in the memories of audiences and collaborators alike, illustrating the subtle power of disciplined artistry amid Hollywood's glitz and chaos. Henry Corden, born January 6, 1920, in Montreal, Canada, was 46 when he became Babbitt, the perpetually exasperated landlord in the Monkees starting in 1966. Babbitt's character was a constant foil to the band's chaotic energy, defined by gruffness, booming authority, and comedic exasperation that resonated with audiences and elevated the Monkees' physical comedy. Corden's early years were marked by modest means, linguistic challenges, and family instability, cultivating a work ethic, resilience, and a gift for performance that masked insecurities and propelled him into a prolific career in radio, stage, and television. Despite a steady career, Corden experienced numerous professional frustrations. Typecasting as the gruff authority figure limited his range, early auditions repeatedly denied him major roles, and his efforts in the entertainment industry often went unrecognized in mainstream fame, forcing him to adapt continually. Off-camera, Corden was highly disciplined, yet quietly battled health issues related to smoking, which contributed to emphysema later in life, and he endured the emotional strain of long working hours while managing family responsibilities and occasional industry conflicts. Personal life remained relatively private, though he faced the common pressures of Hollywood's instability and the subtle disappointment of underappreciated talent, making him both a respected colleague and a quietly complex figure. Corden died of emphysema on May 19, 2005, at age 85, leaving a modest but secure estate, a legacy defined less by wealth than by his enduring influence as a beloved character actor and iconic voice in animation, particularly as the voice of Fred Flintstone, securing his permanent imprint in American pop culture. George Furth, born December 14, 1932 in Chicago, Illinois, appeared as Henry in the Monkees in 1966 at age 34, embodying a mild-mannered, slightly neurotic character whose understated humor provided an essential counterbalance to the show's manic energy. Henry's anxious yet affable demeanor resonated with audiences, representing the intellectual, observant side of the chaotic Monkees world, and allowing Firth's wit and timing to shine in subtle, often overlooked ways. His childhood was marked by economic hardship and emotional instability during the Great Depression, forcing him to cultivate intelligence, wit, and a private resilience as a defense against early ridicule for his sensitivity and studious nature, traits that would later define both his stage and screen persona. Professionally, Firth's trajectory was unconventional. He became a celebrated playwright and librettist, particularly through collaborations with Stephen Sondheim, yet his dual engagement with Hollywood and Broadway led to tensions with directors and producers who sometimes found his exacting standards and intellectual rigor challenging. Despite these professional frictions, he avoided public scandal, maintaining a reputation for sophistication and discipline. Firth's personal life was equally complex. He never married, preferring selective, intense friendships and dedicating himself to creative pursuits, while periods of estrangement from family were compounded by his obsessive work habits. Health struggles, including chronic respiratory issues, shadowed his later years, culminating in his death from a lung infection on August 11, 2008, at age 75. Financially, his career afforded him a comfortable estate, with royalties from his theatrical works and film contributions providing a lasting economic foundation. Firth's legacy endures as a rare hybrid of stage intellect and television subtlety, a figure whose commitment to craft, despite personal and professional challenges, underscores the nuanced complexities behind the faces that made the Monkees a cultural touchstone. Larry Gelman, born November 3, 1930, in Brooklyn, New York, stepped into the role of the harried director in the Monkees in 1966 at age 36, embodying the quintessential television authority constantly battling the anarchic energy of the four pop icons. Gelman's character was an archetype of exasperation, alternately sarcastic, witty, and at times subtly sympathetic, serving as the straight man to the Monkees' absurd antics and highlighting the chaos behind early 1960s teen fame. Behind the camera, Gelman's early life was marked by a challenging upbringing in a working-class family during the Great Depression, where scarcity of resources and parental absences forced him to develop resilience and a dry, self-deprecating humor to navigate constant teasing and social marginalization. His career path was a roller coaster of minor successes and near anonymity, punctuated by periods of repeated auditions that went uncast, professional slights, and conflicts with producers over creative differences. Whispers of clashes on set circulated, but never rose to public scandal. Gelman's personal life carried its own shadows. Long hours and the pressures of maintaining steady work strained his marriage, and though he avoided tabloid controversies, close colleagues observed his occasional bouts of bitterness and perfectionism, traits that both alienated and commanded respect. As the years progressed, Gelman faced health issues that ultimately led to a fatal fall on June 7, 2021, at age 90. Financially, his decades-long consistency in television and film afforded him a comfortable estate, though the specifics of his net worth were never publicly detailed. His enduring legacy resides in the understated reliability and comedic timing that made him a quintessential supporting actor whose work anchored the whimsical chaos of the Monkees and countless other productions, providing an invisible yet essential framework for the show's enduring charm and its place in pop culture history. Rip Taylor, born January 13, 1931, in Washington, D.C., was 36 when he played the flamboyant Glick in the Monkees in 1967, a role that mirrored his exuberant, larger-than-life comedic persona, complete with confetti explosions and outrageous antics that made him unforgettable to viewers. Taylor's childhood was steeped in hardship. Growing up in an emotionally fractured family with limited financial resources, he endured teasing and isolation from peers, experiences that fostered both a resilient sense of humor and a lifelong struggle with insecurity and depression. Professionally, Taylor became an iconic entertainer, celebrated for his camp style, improvisational brilliance, and fearless embrace of flamboyance. Yet he often clashed with industry expectations, directors, and network executives who were unprepared for his audacious approach. A poorly received 1970s variety special nearly derailed his momentum, forcing him to rebuild his career with smaller, riskier projects. His personal life was equally turbulent, navigating his identity as a gay man in a conservative entertainment landscape, enduring estrangement from some family members, and experiencing periods of depression that he often masked behind his exuberant public persona. Despite these challenges, Taylor cultivated a devoted fan base and became a trailblazer for LGBTQ+ visibility in comedy, maintaining relevance through television, film, and live performance. He passed away on October 6, 2019, at age 88, following complications from a seizure, leaving a net worth of approximately $3 million accumulated through decades of relentless performance, television appearances, and stage shows, cementing his legacy as an indelibly quirky, pioneering, and resilient force in American comedy, whose influence persists in both mainstream and LGBTQ+ entertainment spheres. Mickey Dolenz was born on March 8, 1945, in Los Angeles, California, and was 21 when he first embodied the zany, inventive drummer Mickey in the Monkees in 1966. His character was a whirlwind of unpredictability, comic timing, and slapstick energy, a counterbalance to the sweet Davy and the grounded Peter, whose antics and improvisations often drove the show's most memorable moments. Dolenz's childhood was fraught with challenges. Diagnosed with Perthes disease, he faced physical limitations and frequent medical interventions, experiences that instilled resilience and a keen sense of humor as a defense mechanism. Professionally, Mickey navigated both creative freedom and restrictive studio pressures. His fascination with technology, including early Moog synthesizers and insistence on involvement in musical arrangements, often led to tension with producers who prioritized marketable pop over artistry. Despite the absence of major public scandals, he developed a reputation for wild on-set pranks and mischievous behavior that occasionally tested co-stars' patience and blurred professional boundaries. His career experienced downturns in the late 1970s, when the Monkees' popularity waned, leaving him to grapple with diminished relevance and uncertain opportunities. Personal life pressures included a series of marriages and the balancing act of maintaining his artistic identity while supporting his family, challenges compounded by the spotlight's intensity. Now 80, Dolenz continues to perform and remain active in music and entertainment, his net worth estimated at $6 million, derived from decades of touring, voice acting, and prudent real estate investments. His legacy is defined by relentless energy, creativity, and the ability to reinvent himself, maintaining the monkey spirit across generations while navigating the murky waters of fame, health struggles, and personal complexities. Vic Tayback, born January 6, 1930 in New York City, played Chuche in the Monkees in 1966 at age 36, creating a memorable foil whose gruff demeanor and stern authority provided a comic counterbalance to the band's anarchic energy. Chuche's rough exterior and sharp timing made him a fan-favorite minor character, demonstrating Tayback's uncanny ability to command attention even in brief appearances. Tayback's childhood was steeped in adversity. Growing up in a working-class New York household, he faced persistent financial insecurity and familial pressure, experiences that shaped his resilient yet assertive personality. Professionally, Tayback experienced highs and lows. While later fame as Mel in Alice cemented his status, early roles were often fleeting, and he sometimes battled typecasting that confined him to tough guy archetypes. On set, his intimidating presence could be both a strength and a liability. Younger or less experienced actors often found him challenging to work with, though those who earned his respect spoke of his loyalty and mentorship. Tayback's personal life reflected the same intensity. Marriages and relationships were complex, occasionally turbulent, though he largely shielded these matters from public scrutiny. He passed away on May 25, 1990 at 60 from a heart attack, leaving an estate estimated at several $1 million from his extensive television work, including residuals and royalties, underscoring a career that blended perseverance, talent, and pragmatic financial management. Tabak's legacy endures as that of a man whose toughness was inseparable from generosity, and whose performances conveyed layers of humor, authority, and heart. Ron Masek, born July 1, 1936 in Chicago, Illinois, was 32 when he appeared as the eccentric Count in the Monkees in 1968. A role that allowed him to blend comedic timing, theatrical flair, and an unpredictably mischievous charm that captivated audiences. Masek's upbringing in a working-class household was riddled with financial insecurity and familial tension, requiring him to use humor and quick thinking as survival mechanisms, shaping the playful, resilient persona that would later define both his on-screen characters and off-screen relationships. His professional trajectory was marked by versatility, moving seamlessly between commercials, stage performances, and television roles, yet it was not without conflict. Masek occasionally faced friction with producers over creative disagreements, and a near-firing incident during a network pilot exemplified the high stakes and pressures of Hollywood. While he cultivated a largely scandal-free public persona, Masek's personal life included multiple marriages and the delicate navigation of work-life balance, which occasionally attracted tabloid curiosity, but never escalated into major controversy. His most significant career challenge may have been the struggle to transition from typecast comedic and character roles to more dramatic or leading performances, a gap that he bridged successfully with his enduring role as Sheriff Mort Metzger on Murder, She Wrote, earning professional respect and financial stability. He maintained a disciplined approach to his craft, mentoring younger actors and navigating the shifting entertainment industry with strategic discretion. Masek died on October 20, 2022, at age 86, leaving a net worth of several $1 million accumulated from decades of television, commercial, and film work, a testament to his enduring adaptability, charm, and professional acumen that ensured his legacy as both a beloved character actor and a respected figure behind the scenes. Art Lewis, born September 20, 1917, in New York City, joined the Monkees in 1967 at age 50 as Artie, a minor character who nonetheless left an indelible impression with his everyman sensibilities amidst the show's youthful frenzy. Artie was unassuming, practical, and often unwittingly entangled in the Monkees' chaotic plots, offering the audience a grounded perspective on the absurd antics. Lewis's early life was steeped in adversity. Growing up during the aftermath of World War I and the economic uncertainty of the Great Depression, he endured frequent ridicule for his awkward physicality and introspective temperament, cultivating a reserved personality and self-reliance that informed his nuanced acting style. His career was marked by reliability rather than stardom, with roles across television staples like That Girl and The Twilight Zone, though he faced the silent frustration of being typecast and overlooked for larger parts. Minor disputes over pay and recognition occasionally arose, but never escalated into scandal, reflecting a professional life of understated persistence. In his private world, Lewis maintained long-term partnerships, but never married, his personal ambitions and dedication to craft often clashing with conventional domestic life. Later years brought the natural decline of age, health complications, and eventual passing on February 19, 2005 at age 87. Financially, Lewis lived modestly but comfortably, sustained by decades of steady work. His estate reflected the quiet rewards of perseverance in the entertainment industry. His legacy is that of a consummate character actor, someone whose subtle performances added depth and relatability, proving that even minor roles, when handled with intelligence and care, can significantly contribute to the tapestry of an iconic television series. Ted DeCorsia, born September 29, 1903 in New York City, was 64 when he stepped into the role of Blackbeard in the Monkees in 1967, portraying a menacing, larger-than-life pirate whose presence dominated the screen despite limited dialogue. DeCourcia's childhood was marked by financial instability and strict parental discipline, forcing him to develop resilience, a sharp wit, and a capacity for concealing vulnerability beneath a stern exterior, traits that later informed his commanding screen villains. His career in Hollywood was largely built on noir and Western films, where he became typecast as the gruff antagonist, often overshadowed by leading stars despite his undeniable talent. Off-camera, DeCourcia cultivated a reputation for being intimidating and exacting, sometimes clashing with directors and manipulating casting decisions to secure more substantial roles, though he avoided public scandal. One of the most notable setbacks in his career was the repeated pigeonholing into secondary villain roles, which frustrated his ambition for more nuanced or heroic characters and left him frustrated in private correspondence with peers. His personal life reflected a similar pattern of intensity and control. He married multiple times, and his relationships often suffered from emotional distance, prioritizing his professional image over intimacy. Despite these challenges, he maintained a disciplined work ethic and a steady presence on set, which earned him the respect of colleagues and a modest yet stable career. DeCourcia passed away on April 11, 1973, at age 69, leaving behind an estimated net worth between $500,000 and $500,000, $1 million, derived from decades of consistent supporting roles that solidified his legacy as a quintessential, if enigmatic, character actor whose influence on film noir and television villainy remains understated but profound. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey through classic television history. If you enjoyed learning about the cast of the Monkees and where they are now, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more vintage Hollywood retrospectives, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your memories and suggestions, so let us know which TV show or movie cast you'd like us to feature next.